A very good morning to you. It's good to see you on this Monday. I hope that hashtag there's no Monday blues and you're ready to face the week. Welcome to the show. This is Your World and my name is Winnie Lubem. Of course, always exciting to be here and to see you guys every single morning. So I hope that you guys are ready for today's conversation. I promise you it's going to be a fun conversation, but I also want you to chime in. Of course, today we are talking about friendship, and not just friendship, all right? We're talking about platonic friendships, all right, because friendships at the same time fulfill an important social need, and they can look different for everyone, right? And although some friendships may involve a sexual or romantic component, many do not, and in these cases they may be called platonic friendships. However, all right, however is the word. The dilemma is platonic friendships possible? And of course that is what we want to figure out in today's conversation. And of course, as per usual, we have a question for you. Like I said, we always love it when we hear from you guys. What are your thoughts and your perspectives and your feedback as far as the conversations that we have on this show? So today the question is, can a guy and a lady be best friends? And the keyword is best friends, all right? So can a guy and a lady be best friends? That is what we want to understand from the conversation today. So you know the drill by now. At NTV Kenya, both on Facebook and on Twitter, is how you can reach us. If you want to call in live and share your views as well about this topic, feel free to do so. And of course, we look forward to hear what you guys have to say. And of course, I can see on our Facebook page a number of you. Boy, do you have a lot to say as far as the question is concerned. And that is, can a guy and a lady, or can a man and a woman be best friends? You have a lot to say, all right? And of course, well, okay. A number of you say, yes, it's possible. Another person says, absolutely not. Dead Man says, the friendship is for the public view. The real thing is the two parties have feelings, all right? And of course, usually that's that kind of thing. Like, what if the other person sort of catches feelings, all right? What do you do? What happens in the friendship? But we have best friends here in studio with us to also share their perspective as far as their friendship. Does it work? Does it not? You know, do they have like two feelings here and there? Well, let's get to meet them. And of course, starting with Reverend Dr. James Mbugua, who's a counseling psychologist as well as a university lecturer. It's so good to have you this morning. Karibu sana to the conversation. I really look forward to hear what you have to say as far as, you know, this whole question about platonic friendship is concerned. But we also have Grace Wambui Wangare, who again has her best friend on set with us today, and of course that is one Billy Shirley Otieno. All right, so these two are best friends, and I'm really curious to understand, first of all, like, you guys have never developed feelings for each other ever, okay? But before you answer that question, let's start with first things first, establishing base, get to understand what is it, you know, this whole thing about platonic friendship. Can we just from there establish and get to understand what exactly it means?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. When we speak platonic relationship, maybe we need to go back to who we are.
Okay.
We are African, and some of the friendships we form are formed across the understanding of the cultures we come from.
All right.
Once upon a time, within Africa, we are allowed to have friends without sexual relationship.
All right.
And you know, this friendship would be so deep, like a brother and a sister, and this friendship would determine so much about the relationship we would have out there.
All right.
Unfortunately, in today's world, sometimes we keep on forgetting whom we are. We read books, we watch movies, you know, from the Western world, and sometimes we forget our real boundaries about who we are.
Okay.
And the critical thing here to say very quickly is that, yes, platonic relationships are possible, and no, they may not be possible. We are in somewhere in between, and we'll be talking about when they are possible, and we'll be talking about when they are not possible.
But what exactly does that mean when we say, for example, there's two, right? And they say, you know what, we're best friends, you know, like, and our relationship is purely platonic. What exactly does that mean?
A quick understanding of platonic relationship is friends without sexual benefits.
All right.
You know, the intimacy of sex is not there. Anything else goes in this relationship. Once in a while, these people are depending on how they are free with their boundaries. They will hug, they will hold hands, they will walk together, they will share things, and they may spend time together, they will share gifts. But when it comes to the sexual part, that one is a boundary, and platonic is basically that. Okay. Relationship without the sexual aspect.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I'm happy that you mentioned that, but also I'm curious because, like you said, first of all, we need to understand who we are, and in our culture, and in this sense, in our African culture, that was possible a while back. So it's like things changed and we became sort of like westernized in the way we deal and handle things. The things have to, but does that really matter? Like who we are, where we come from? I don't know, like in my thinking, I'm just thinking, isn't friendship just friendship? Doesn't matter who we are, where we come from, our backgrounds and all those things.
Friendship is friendship, yes, but with limits.
Okay.
In our contemporary world, we have put the aspect of sexual relationship on a plane on its own, on a pedestal on its own, such that every other relationship today, even a casual relationship, the ultimate things become sex. But platonic relationship is about I value you, I care about you, I want to spend time with you, I don't want to take any advantage of you. You know, just that friend whom I feel like is a sister to me, and we can do so many other things. But now when the angle of sexual relationship is brought in, the aspect of platonic relationship comes to an end. So we need to really ask ourselves, what is this, you know, connection, you know, what is this and demand about sexual relationship that is so much out there in society. And it's all about not having boundaries, not being very clear why we needed this. You know, platonic relationship sits back and asks, what is in me, I mean, in it for me in this relationship, and what am I gonna give? So if the only thing that I can offer here is sex, we may not even be talking about friendship.
Yeah, that's not platonic, all right? Okay, I hear you, I hear you. And again, I was watching a number of videos where, again, people were just randomly asked, is it possible for a man and a woman to be friends? Majority of the people said absolutely, positively no. But what I found interesting is that a lot of women said, yes, it's possible. But a lot of men said, no, it is not possible. So I'm curious to hear what you have to say. But for this too, let's begin with you, Grace. So you've been friends with Billy for over 5 years now?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So can we go back to when did it all start? When did you guys become like best friends?
We actually started our friendship back in high school.
Okay.
And at this time, I remember it is, we met at the music festivals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's that common factor. You both love music.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is that is. Okay.
So we started talking, but then our conversation was that because we're still in school.
All right.
So definitely we had a chance, we got to exchange our contacts, and then here we are today. We still talk.
Okay.
And one thing I found good about him is that he's a genuine person, very genuine. Because I ended up talking to him and opening up what I always feel like, you know, because honestly speaking, we as ladies go through a lot, and you find that you don't want to share your things with other ladies because they'll definitely backbite you. So,
do you have an experience in that? Like, have you shared something and then they turned you know, into something else? Okay, all right.
So at least I found that, okay, Billy being my friend, he's one of a person that anytime I feel low, and he assures me that if I want to talk to him, I should just go and get
talk to
him.
him. Okay, so he's like your best friend.
Yes.
Do you have like other best friends?
Definitely. I think
Okay.
that a best friend, I have one best friend.
Okay.
But for the others, they're just friends, random
Okay,
friends.
so him, he's like best friend, and then
Yes.
the others, you just have like friends. So what is it about him? And I'm curious about that first instance where you guys started talking, that you found that you could trust him more than your other girl friends who turned out not to be your friends. What is it about him? You talked about trust, which I
Yeah.
think it's built over time, yeah? But what is it about him, like the first instance that you felt, you know what, you could be my best friend?
Okay, we all go through challenges.
Yeah.
So there was this time he actually came to me with his own situations, and I was the only person who could actually help him out.
Okay.
So I was there by his side, and I had to kind of figure out how am I going to help him as my friend. So again, before you get to make someone to be a best friend, I know it's very hard,
Yeah.
very hard. But then I once tried to share with him something just to see whether he will
You can
actually
trust
judge
him.
me.
Okay.
Literally, he didn't.
Okay. Well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing to find that someone that you can feel safe and share anything and everything and still feel safe that you will not be judged. Okay, that's a good thing. All right, Billy, what was it like for you meeting her? Because again, like she said, you guys met at a music fest, you started talking, you exchanged contacts, and over time, here you are today, still best friends. So what is it about her? What is like that first thing or instance or whatever it is that sort of like attracted you to her, but not in a romantic or sexual way, that she's now your friend? Or maybe there was that attraction that we don't know.
Okay, first I would tell you, Grace didn't tell you, we met at a music festival.
Okay.
Back then in high school. Then I don't know if it is destiny or it was unfortunate or fortunate.
Okay.
We ended up at the same university.
Oh, really?
We are in the same university,
Okay.
taking the same course.
Okay.
We're actually journalists still at China Square.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Look at you.
So
Okay.
for me, Grace, actually for men, like when you meet a lady, you see Grace, she's beautiful,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
The first thing that goes through a man's mind is how beautiful she can be your girlfriend. But over time, with Grace, the way she talks to me, okay, for me, I build my relationship with respect and trust.
All right.
So with Grace, she's respectful, and we have a motto between me and her that if I told somebody has one of us has a problem, we don't share ideas. Like I don't ask her for something to use her ideas to make my decisions.
Okay.
By the time I'm making my decision, I only consider her to make my decisions.
Okay.
And then second thing with Grace, she's that person who is ready to tell you no when when no should be said.
Okay.
She's not somebody who will let you do a mistake when she's seeing. So it's very difficult to find somebody like that, especially a lady who opens up to you about that. And at first, maybe to her, she didn't see me as somebody who could be a best friend, because best friend is something that you cannot say I've met my best friend.
Yeah, no.
It's with
something
time
that you have to build.
Yeah,
over
you have to
time.
build.
Okay.
So Grace, when we started out, as we used just to take 1110, the initial phones. We used to buy the 200 SMSs talk.
Yes.
So when we got that opportunity, definitely we grew up with African parents who never used to allow us to have the phones.
Yes.
So when we came to when I informed her that I was joining the university, which is ZTech, she was very happy.
Okay.
Then when we joined university, now that's actually when the moment our relationship became a little bit thicker is when we were at the university.
Okay.
Because we found ourselves, we needed a lot. We needed each other a lot.
Okay. Now, there's one thing that you said that I want to pick on, right? So when Grace met you, I mean, you did not have like, oh my gosh, look at this guy, you didn't have that. But you said, as a man, I mean, look at Grace, she's beautiful, right?
I can't lie.
So for you, when you saw her, it was more of, oh my gosh, she's beautiful, maybe we can have
she can be my girlfriend, maybe with time. But I don't know, it was very unfortunate that the time that I was waiting for her to be my girlfriend, she actually she turned out to be my best friend.
Okay.
So
but did you have that conversation though? Like, did you at some point tell her, listen, this is how I feel about you. I like you. You're beautiful. I'd want you to be my girlfriend. Did you ever tell her?
I never got that.
You never told her?
Yeah, I never
but did you see the feelings? Like, I mean, listen, if someone tears you, there's a way you know this person is interested, right? Did you see that in as much as he did not voice it?
Okay, some things are not supposed to be told.
Okay.
So, I might have seen then.
Yeah.
But then, I'll have to set the boundaries.
Okay.
It does not mean that I'll have to script down the roles between me and you.
Yeah, like, listen, there's a pillow in between.
Yeah, but with the way we are actually carrying ourselves,
Yeah.
definitely he's going to see that maybe she's avoiding
She's not
me.
interested.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Oh, okay. So, but for you, you were very clear from the word go. Friendship is everything that I can offer, nothing else.
Yes.
Okay, but for you, you are hoping there's that hope. Okay. All right, I want to bring in Dr. James here very quickly. Listening to this too, and people might say and they would argue and say, listen, there's always that person who has a feeling towards the other, and then when it's not reciprocated, maybe they settle on friendship.
Well, every other friendship has the aspect of liking.
Okay.
And this liking, in a deeper sense, is what we call intimacy.
All right.
And intimacy doesn't necessarily mean the physical intimacy.
Okay.
When I listened to Grace here and Beauty, what is coming out is that two people meeting within secondary school, moving on to university, and with commitment towards the future, they would want to finish their schooling and everything else. But it is a relationship in which we are also hearing, we are waiting. And for Billy, a time will come and this now will be my girlfriend.
Yeah.
For Winnie, this, I mean for Grace,
yeah.
it will be probably now be my boyfriend. And the critical thing is that they have set boundaries and they are actually following these boundaries. Because in the mind of every other young man, in the mind of every young girl, is waiting for that opportunity when these will, go to other
to the next level. Yes.
So we must commend them because they are doing well.
Okay.
But as of now, we can't really talk 100% platonic. Yeah, because we can hear this is gonna end to some place.
Okay.
So platonic is that pureness of like this one will never end to any other levels.
Yeah.
And when we talk commitment, we have three aspects of love that now goes and ends in marriage. We have the aspect of passion, we have the aspect of intimacy, we have the aspect of commitment.
All right.
These two are around commitment, they are around some ritual passion, the liking, some intimacy, but the full-blown commitment that would lead to a relationship of marriage still has not come around. But one day, maybe it's coming around, and for platonic relationship, there's that purity of like, platonic is like a young girl looking for a father figure in somebody or a brother they were missing out, a young man looking for a mother figure or a sister they were missing out, and this person meets this need. And in that kind of relationship, there's the purity of this person is meeting a need in me, of a father figure, of a brother figure, of a mother figure, of a sister figure, and that one would never be affected or bring the issue of sexual relationship. So as we listen here, probably things will be happening in the future.
We never know. Billy's still holding on to that. No?
Actually, I want to assure Professor that, okay, initially it had been there.
Okay.
But right now I can give Professor 120%.
It's not going to happen. But do you feel like you settled then? Because then your intention was, I really like her and I would wish, or I would want her to be my girlfriend. But then, she was like, listen, you're not going to cross. And in as much as she did not say it, she did not reciprocate, what you were giving. So do you feel very quickly, because we need to go on a break, do you feel like you settled for the friendships? Like, this is the best I can get?
Yeah, initially.
Let me just take it.
What actually made me not to go ahead with my plans?
Yeah.
I told you I built my relationship on respect. On
respect, yes.
She was seeing somebody by then. She told me, and I was like, it is an heartbreak, but...
So there was a conversation. But Grace says there's no conversation.
Okay, she told me,
Yeah.
alikuwa na mtu, she has somebody by the way.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, you have somebody. But I actually never told her in what's that. Okay. I just asked her.
Maybe she was thinking, me, I'm just telling this guy because he's my best friend. That
Yeah,
listen,
she
I'm
was
seeing
opening to me,
someone.
but
Kumbe you had other plans.
120% professor, it is not going to happen. I buried it.
We wait to see. We wait to see. All right. But of course, there's that question of then when it comes to partners. I mean, I asked this and you said you're not dating. Both of you are not dating at the moment. You're thinking about it.
Okay, for me, I can confidently, this is a national TV, I can confidently say anybody else there, I'm not dating.
So if there's someone thinking, okay, baby, you're not dating.
Remember, my dad is watching.
Oh, okay. He is not dating. All right. So, but then again, I think there's usually a big problem when it comes to partners. Do you tell your partners that you have a best friend who is of the opposite sex, and how do you set those boundaries and make sure that you respect the boundaries and all those things? And does it ever get complicated? That is what we want to find out. After the break, stay with us. Remember the question that we're asking you today, and that is, can a guy and a lady be best friends, or can a man and a woman be best friends? A lot of you have a lot of things to say, and of course I'll be going through your feedback after the break. Stay with us. This is Your World. I see that. Welcome back. Glad you're still with us. The show is Your World, and of course it's all about platonic friendship today, because again, like I said, the question that we want to understand is, can a guy and a lady be best friends and no like sexual attraction or anything like that? Is it possible? Is it not? We have a lot of you who have a lot of things to say, so I'm just going to quickly run through a few, and as we compile more. And of course the question is, can a man and a guy be best friends? Catherine Jimmy on Facebook says, yes, they can, as long as you can put some barriers. You can make good friendship with a guy, because one thing I love about having a man as your best friend is you can share your life secrets with him, and that stays between you. I think what you said, Grace, as well. But again, it is hard to use sugar. Okay, alianza vizuri then kasema, but again, it's so hard to use sugarcane like a walking stick, because you might end up being tempted to bite it. Okay, so there's that temptation. All right. And then someone, Francis, says, of course, yes, I have many lady friends. All right. And then someone else says, there's a comment I really wanted to, oh yeah, Joe Koshin Sa, okay, says, yeah, my best friends are ladies, but there should be clear and well demarcated boundaries. Otherwise, don't play with fire. Okay. And then someone else says, having a lady best friend is like using sugarcane as a walking stick. You chew it anytime you get thirsty. I wish I had one. Hiya, your intentions are different. All right. Then someone else says, why not? My best friend, a male, he was my classmate, but back in primary. We are both married, okay? And we've never even kissed. So you just set boundaries. Okay, all right. I think that has moved, like Rev said, from platonic. All right, and then someone else says, of course, yes. Another one says, maybe friends with benefits. All right. So again, we're still compiling more of your feedback, and of course, we'll be going through before we end the conversation. But before we went on a break, there was this conversation about setting boundaries. And do you let your partner, in the event that you have a partner, do you let them know that you have a best friend that is of the opposite sex? All right. Do you let them? Do you not? All right. But before that, Rev, you had talked about what platonic friendship is. So can we talk about what platonic friendship isn't, and what are some of these clear boundaries that one needs to set?
A platonic relationship, in quote, that ends up into physical intimacy, the sexual part, it no longer is platonic. Right. And in the beginning of it all, when we are seeking this friendship, we need to be very clear in our minds exactly what we need. Okay. We are looking for somebody to deal with our loneliness, to fill some gaps in our lives. And without boundaries, there'll be issues.
Okay.
You know, we get into relationship. Once upon a time in this country, there was the Hustlers campaign out there. People got into it, you know, with a lot of promises. Boundaries were not cleared.
All right.
And people got into this relationship, and then a government was formed. Once the government was formed, because the people who are making it, they were not very clear where they were going. They got very disappointed when they got in, because it is like they didn't find what they expected.
All right.
So out of this commitment, out of this investment, they are now finding a lot of disappointment. And the refrain, and we have had it even this morning, the refrain is that these people didn't do this, they should have done this, you know, because friendship and investment builds on some foundation.
All right.
So these foundations continue following us. So in this platonic relationship, the foundation could either lead us into full-blown relationship that ends in marriage,
All right.
or it could be very, very disappointing. Because the critical thing is, this friend that we are having without benefits, at what position in our lives are they occupying? Are they number one? Maybe I have a platonic relationship with a lady out there. When my wife needs my attention, who do I give my attention first?
Yeah.
You know, when my girlfriend need attention, whom do I give my attention first? So we may end up and then move on, and then probably get married, and then at the end of the day, because we never set boundaries well, there will be issues. But where we have set boundaries well, we can now progress on.
Yeah.
And most platonic relationship in our contemporary society, they are just platonic in quotes.
Okay.
At the end of it all, benefits have been looked into. You have heard somebody saying you just cannot use a sugar cane as a walking stick.
Yeah.
And in most of the situation, that is a real scenario.
Okay.
Yes.
So then there's no, because now I'm thinking, so then what is the difference between platonic and friend zone, you know? Do you feel like you're friend zoned? Okay, but there's something else that we were talking about, and that is, again, you know, Billy, you were like, listen, for a lot of us guys, that is what usually happens. It starts as an attraction. I would really want to have this lady as my girlfriend, but then again, if that doesn't happen, well, maybe then we can still be friends. But I'm just trying to figure your disappointment, you know, because your plans, it did not go how you know it was. But at that time, you were dating someone, right?
Yes.
So did you tell them that I have a best friend who happens to be a male?
Definitely. At first, I couldn't,
Okay.
because I was so scared what his reaction is going to be.
All right.
So I decided to take my time, and yeah, with time, because for me personally, I really trust about. I mean, I really value loyalty in a relationship. So
Alright.
I decided to open up and tell him, you know what, I have this friend, and he's my best friend.
Alright.
Like we share a lot in common. So with time, as we moved on, he was so toxic. And you know, the moment that one is toxic, he'll be like,
Was he toxic before you told him that you have a male best friend?
No.
Or was he toxic before?
after.
Oh, after you told him?
Yeah,
Okay.
after.
What happened?
Because definitely every time you're not maybe going, okay, like for example, he decides to call you over, then it happens that you're not even going, or maybe you won't make it because you have other things to do.
You have plans with your best friend?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Not compulsory the best friend.
Okay.
But, you know, plans maybe, or maybe don't just feel like going outside.
Now, in this context, we're talking about this best friend versus your boyfriend. Okay. Yeah.
His reaction is going to be not impressive at all,
Okay.
because definitely he's going to conclude that you're already that best friend of yours, and whatever he's going to have into his mind, it isn't good at all. It isn't appealing, because every time he always be like, you're always moving out with your best friend, like you just don't like me.
Yeah,
So you
so
have
they
to
felt that
choose.
you were spending too much time,
Yeah.
and you prioritized your best friend
Yeah.
over him. Was that the situation, or it was just that insecurity, the fact that you have a male best friend, that brought about a lot of insecurities?
It was insecurities.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. How did you feel? I mean, did you ever tell him that your boyfriend is not happy with this arrangement?
I did tell him,
Okay.
and As for me, definitely because I met him first.
Okay.
I decided that we've been through a lot.
Okay.
So, why am I even dating this stranger? And there's this best friend who hears me out, and
Yeah.
so because actually he was the first person I ran to,
Okay.
and I told him this and this has happened.
Okay. I met you first, so I'm gonna speak with you. That this other person can take. How did that make you feel? Because again, and I was watching this video where best friends were told, so what is it that you need from this relationship? And I think hearing what you guys were saying, there's an aspect of trust and loyalty and safety. I feel safe when I share things with you because I know, you know, you're going to keep it to us. You know, you're not going to share, you know, with everybody else. I hear that between you two. So these people were asked again, so what do you need from this friendship? And they had like a list. But then when they were asked, what is your best friend's need out of this relationship? It was very difficult for them to point out what it is. So they were saying, you know, most of the time we focus on us, me, what is it that I need from this relationship and all those things. I'm curious to hear that. But how did that make you feel, knowing that your best friend had to dump the boyfriend?
I was
because
actually disappointed.
You were?
Because, okay, you know, she's my best friend.
Okay.
So my priority is seeing her happy. But
True.
let us be honest, you can never be happy losing your boyfriend. I'm actually more disappointed to hear
you had
us.
plans, remember? You're like, yes,
I accept.
I won.
No, I did twig because, you know, Grace, my priority is seeing her happy.
Okay. And I
anything
respect
that,
It's
I was so
important.
disappointed to
Yeah.
hear that the boyfriend was so
Yeah.
insecure about me. It is actually it is acceptable to have for somebody to be disappointed, because, you know, actually I don't know if it is a coincidence, but after her telling her that telling him sorry that we were best friend and she has me as a best friend, there were a lot of issues with the best friend, to a point personally I felt like, okay, Grace, if this thing is at all is affecting your relationship, then I think I should distance myself.
Oh, consider
I give
taking
you
a step
because this is
back.
your happiness. This is somebody you chose over me.
You're a good friend.
Yeah, you chose this
Okay.
person over me, so
Yeah.
I can choose him over you because I want you to be happy. If at all he makes you happy, then go for it. But it as if the boyfriend already made up his mind with it. But for me, you know, when we started the relationship, okay, actually when now we became close friends, we had to set boundaries.
Okay.
Grace knows what
So did you
disappoints
have
me.
a conversation around it?
Yeah, we had a conversation about it. There's
Okay.
a time we crossed each other's lines and we had to come back and sit down and have a conversation.
What happened? I'm nosy. I want to know what happened.
Okay,
What
there was a
did you-
time-
was it you or was it her or was it
She
both of
crossed
you?
my line
Okay.
and I was like, okay, I was just straightforward. I was bold to her and told her, okay, Grace, you've gone a notch higher. And this
What
one,
did she do?
She was somehow, I felt like she was nosing my business. Okay, it was not in a bad way. It was not in a bad way.
Yeah.
But she was becoming too nosy in my business.
Yeah.
But so with that time, I took that opportunity to actually tell her, Grace, this is what we need to
Listen,
have. We
this
need to
is what-
listen. We have to be respectful to each other.
All right.
If at all we have to be best friends, then there are no secrets.
Okay.
We share everything.
All
Personally, I'm not a dating person. Grace has dated a lot of people. But for me,
Look at this best friend outing the best friends. Okay.
I'm
all
sorry.
right.
I'm sorry, but
No, it's. I mean, that is what best friends do. They embarrass you every single day. Like you said, she was so much in your business. That is
I'm
what
not
best friends
embarrassing
do.
you. No,
We are
but-
all in each other's business, and that's okay.
yeah, but I just told her, Grace,
Yeah.
she has dated a lot of people, but me, I'm not a dating person because me, I prioritize my career over everything.
Okay.
And I know, ladies, you guys need time. Even sometimes I don't have time for her.
Okay.
I have a lot of time to do my photography and everything.
All right.
So I don't find ladies attractive to me. Only. But I'm not in the other side.
Okay.
So I don't find ladies attractive to me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm one person who fears women.
Okay.
So Grace to me is like a younger sister. Actually, she's my fifth sister. I have 4 sisters.
Okay.
Plus my mom. So my mom is my love. Then Grace
Aw.
joins my sisters.
Okay.
On the other side. So I find very confident. I can tell Grace everything. Actually, I can get out of this place. Grace can definitely destroy my career.
Okay.
I don't even trust her with my career at first. So I cannot make a mistake.
But
for
she
me.
knows, you know those friends you say, you know too much, you're not going to go anywhere because
Yeah.
you know too much. Okay, so that's her. Because like you said, you're not just friends, you're also business partners. So there's a lot to this relationship that is not just friendship. There's a lot, and I'm still going to come back to that question of you do not find ladies. And I'm just curious, is it fear then? Because you had plans, she did not reciprocate, and so are you like, you know what, maybe the others are going to reject me and I'm scared and all those things. I'm just going to focus on my work and all those things. That's a question. I'm going to get an answer, but let's hear from Rev. Here, it's a lot. The whole question of setting boundaries and the partners. I mean, it's somewhat acceptable to have partners react differently because, right? But then again, that question of having to choose, does that then complicate, number one, the relationship that one of the best friends has with their partners and the relationship that they have as best friends?
When we listen to Biri here and Grace here, we are hearing people falling in love every other day. We are hearing people setting themselves up for deeper relationship.
Yeah.
You know, I listen to Biri and, you know, the sisters, the mother.
Yeah.
And you don't need even to go visit their home to see that this lady has some qualities of the mother or the sisters. And then when you listen to Grace here, you heard her saying that she didn't have a father, and then
or
the siblings were not there.
Yeah.
So, you know, they are meeting gaps into each other. And then, of course, you hear when somebody becomes nosy in the other business, you know, this is not even about platonic relationship.
Yeah.
Because platonic relationship is that use that car, go check up on that business, report to me, because, you know, there are no other attachments. You know, in a platonic relationship, you'll even send somebody to go get money from your ATM. You know, the only thing is bring me the slip and this is this, because you trust them as a partner and you know that they can never take advantage.
Okay.
But you see now, what we are hearing here is, you know, question mark there, question mark there.
Yeah.
And the critical thing is that, you know, they are still young. Yeah, they are still trying to come out there and face the society. Yeah. Because we'll only know, you know, they are in journalism. And one day, if they find themselves somewhere covering an event and they are spending in a tent for 4 days, because sometimes on the ground, once upon a time I used to do feature writing, and they are sharing one tent, probably that is the time we'll know whether this is platonic
really
or it's even deeper than that. You know, the critical thing about platonic relationship is to have some retrospection.
All right.
Is this really it? You know, and I would challenge them to reason. I think this must have been Bob Marley or somebody who sang and said, is this love that I'm feeling? You know, so that they are clear about themselves. Because, you know, when they are moving every other day together, they are doing things together, you know, they are telling their friends out there that here you can't actually get in. So you may find with time she doesn't have a boyfriend, he doesn't have a girlfriend, because everybody else know these two are too tight into each other. So the critical thing is, you know, even as we keep the boundaries, to be sure about where this relationship is going, because platonic relationship can be very, very difficult in our contemporary world because of what it would entail for those others out there.
Exactly, especially when the partners are involved.
His parents know that there is Grace, does somebody else from Grace's side know that there is Biri, and what is this about? You know, that's very, very important.
So then how do we make it work? Because yes, it's important to have boundaries. Yes, it's one thing to have the boundaries and even communicate and talk about the boundaries and say, listen, we're not going to cross. And it's another thing to make sure that you keep your promise, and that is we're going to respect our boundaries but still remain best friends. So then how do you make it work? And that is, you know, maintain this platonic friendship, but at the same time having your partners feel comfortable and feel safe knowing that yes, you have a best friend who happens to be of a different sex, but I'll still trust you to know that nothing is going to happen.
One quick way of making it work is to allow other friends in. You know, so that when I'm talking about friends, I am more closer to Billy than those others, but then they are friends. You know, somebody can put their shot even in this confusion and they can get through because Billy is just a friend. And the same with Grace. Grace is just a friend. But when we zone ourselves, it now becomes friend zone. And then, of course, those others may not get in because there is a future. There is also the issue of determining, is this a business relationship or are we getting it to some other higher levels? So allow those other friends to come in. You know, let them join into the conversation that you're having so that they know these people are not into a relationship that would, you know, lead into marriage. But the critical thing here is, you know, for Grace to find somebody who listened to her as Billy has been listening, for Billy to find somebody who has been listening to him like Grace, it becomes a tall order because in some of the qualities that he would find, you know, he's saying, I'm not into those other ladies. And of course, that one told us like 200 pages of a novel. I'm not into those other ladies. My heart is into Grace. And they are telling us this is platonic. You know, they need to be very clear about it.
There's something going on. Okay, that is like, listen, you never know. You never know. Something might happen in the future. You're like, no, absolutely not.
No.
You went through that heartbreak, disappointment, and you settled. You're like, you know what? I'll take the best friend out of it. But you guys feel that sometimes people misjudge you guys for being in a relationship than just being friends. Do you get that?
A lot.
Yeah. So what do you say then? Because it's very difficult to tell someone, listen, no, this is just my best friend. People will be like, your friend. So what do you say? What do you tell them?
It is very hard to convince people.
It is? Yeah.
So sometimes I don't see the reason as to why we should keep on arguing. I mean, I know him, you don't.
Yeah.
We are friends.
Yeah.
So if you won't believe, that's upon you.
That's on you.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay.
Grace, when is the last time you gave Billy a hug, maybe? Can you remember?
Today in the morning.
Yes.
How did it feel? How long did it last? Don't answer that. We've already known from the
Really?
No. Yeah. In the morning, we were to board a matatu coming here.
Okay.
So she comes.
Do you stay in the same neighborhood?
No.
No.
Okay.
Not close.
All right.
So I gave her a hug that just, oh, good morning.
Yeah.
Probably
Ile hagi ya
just to-
kanisa.
Yeah, actually it's ya kanisa. Ile tu ya sufuria moto.
I see that. All right. So then, I mean, almost 5 years later, what is it that you would guys say sort of like worked for you? What is it that you had to sort of like, you know, the amount of work that you had to put into to make sure that you respect those boundaries and still remain friends? What is it that has worked for you? And my second question would be, because now you're not dating anyone, both of you, right? So when you get partners, would you guys tell them? And I'm specifically asking you this, Grace, because you tried it. It did not work. Your partner was not happy about it. So do you feel that when you get another partner, you will tell them?
Because I believe in this friendship,
Okay.
I'll keep on saying, yes, I have him as my best friend.
Oh, I
Yeah.
like that. I like that. So you will tell your partner.
I will.
That's you have. What if they're not happy about it and you ditch them back to the curb?
The question is, I have him as my best friend.
Yes.
So where am I? You know, I'm friend number what? Because this is the best friend.
Yeah.
Who am I? And I'm coming now as a boyfriend with intention to marry you as Grace.
No,
You know,
no,
that's
no.
the question.
He said he has
yeah.
other friends, and you also
Yes,
said the same
yes.
thing, that you have other
Yes.
friends, but
Yeah.
they consider each other
Yeah.
best friends.
Best friends.
The others are just friends.
Yeah.
I mean, we could.
Yeah.
There are some things that you talk to them,
Yeah.
but there are other things that you talk to your best friend that you will not tell these other friends.
Yes.
Yeah. So
that's the question.
Yes.
Somebody comes into Grace's life, and this person is now like, I love you, I would want to marry you one day. And then Grace comes and say, I have a best friend called Billy.
Yeah.
So the question, this boyfriend now who comes officially as the one who should be best friend,
Yeah.
how would they be
Yeah.
feeling?
I mean, it's yeah.
Yes.
Did you find it difficult, first of all, to balance? Because now there's this best friend that is your boyfriend, but there's also this best friend that is your friend. Did you find it difficult to balance both?
No.
No?
No. Because
Yeah.
I don't have the intimacy to him.
True? True.
But then if I'm having this boyfriend, I'll have to prioritize him because I'm actually dating him, but I'm not dating Billy.
Okay.
So before as we start dating, I'll have to tell you, yes, I have him as my best friend. But then when it comes to you, you're my first priority.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. Okay. All right. So find that balance. Okay. Because with your best friend, sometimes you want to spend a lot of time together, you know, go to the movies, your business partners and all those things. So you might find yourself somewhat, you know, gravitating towards him or him towards you. And then there's this other partner who's like, but where am I? Where do I fit in this career? Please give me space. Like, I'm here. Hi. You know, all those things. But finding that balance is important. All right. So as we end this, yeah, like I said, so then what has worked for you in terms of making sure that there are boundaries and you respect that very quickly as we, you know, close the conversation?
First and foremost, we don't meet oftenly.
Okay.
Unless when there's a necessity.
All right.
Or even going for classes. So because he's still working and yeah, like we always have a schedule.
Okay.
On when to meet, when to do this and this. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that works for you guys.
Definitely.
All right. Billy, what has worked for you?
What has worked for me is that me and Grace, we have honest conversation. Actually, from our conversation, you can realize she's honest. To a point, telling the boyfriend before they start a relationship, before we start this, Billy's in the picture.
This is what you need to do.
But I don't want to be seen like an obstruction to her life.
True.
So for me, there's that distance. Actually, I'm actually somehow very busy. So if it is not, we meet twice for classes. That's a week, Tuesday and Thursday. And then sometimes when I'm not busy, I always meet her on Sunday when I have something. I need some photos that I can take that I need to use.
Yeah.
So we don't meet that.
I mean, aside from business, do you guys just schedule like, let's go for movies, let's just sit and talk? No.
I don't. That time, I told you.
You got no time.
That time for ladies, that is my problem. So for Grace, okay, Grace calls me. You know, there's sometimes you come from work, everything has not worked in the field, clients don't pay. So sometimes you want just to sleep, then she wants to disturb you. You know, ladies.
She's your best friend. She's gonna know you all the way.
She wants to disturb me, but I can assure you, Grace disturbs me in the right way. I can assure. I just want to tell Professor. Professor does not believe me.
I know he's not confused, but he's like, he's just watching you.
Yeah, so I just want to tell Professor. Actually, I'm adding another 20% is 140% that. For me, Grace, I can assure you, I'm saying this on national TV on my camera that Grace is my best friend. Nothing else.
Okay, we hear you, Billy. We hear you. All right, so Prof, just Robert, to just close this whole conversation in terms of making the boundaries work, ensuring that there's a balance, and you know, not prioritizing one person over the other, that the other feels, you know, I'm not needed in this relationship. Very quickly.
Yeah, being young is wonderful, and you know, we have a lot of dreams. Some of them, you know, we dream even as we walk on the highway.
All right.
But the critical thing is that reality on the ground teaches us a few other things. Platonic relationship can and have worked.
All right.
In the same vein, they are very difficult to keep on working. And what we have here before us may not be fully platonic, because with time, it goes, you can hear Grace saying, you know, would want to reach out, he's saying he would not have that time for a movie. You know, already even in a platonic relationship, they would still want to be treated as ladies. The critical thing is that
very quickly, like
sometimes to come, the boundaries must be reviewed from time to time so that we know where we are heading.
Yes. I hear you. And of course, I know we can continue this conversation over and over again, but let's continue it online on your YouTube page as well as our social media platforms. But for now, thank you so much, Reverend Dr. James Mbugua, who's a counseling psychologist as well as a university lecturer, Billy Shirley Otieno, as well as Grace Wambui. Thank you so much really for coming by today, sharing your friendship with us. And there's hope that you can be friends and just be best friends. All right. So we'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place, right here on Your World. But until then, let's keep the conversation going on our social media platforms. And yeah, let's talk about platonic friendship. But for now, have yourselves a lovely day ahead. Goodbye.